Okay, everybody, we have made it to our final lecture for Module 7. This is not the most exciting module, financial matters and how to fund higher education, but it is one that's really important, and I think a lot of students will get some valuable information from this, because funding your education, for some people, that can literally be the difference between getting their degree and not. So being able to afford education is one of the biggest obstacles for people to have access to education. So if I can give you any information that helps make funding your education easier, I'm happy to do that. So like I said, not like the most glamorous, exciting lecture today, but some really important information that I hope is helpful to a lot of you. All right, so let's get into the first half. I am going to review a little bit about Stamp Part 4 to make sure everybody knows what to do for that. And then we're going to talk about financial aid, loans, and scholarships. So these are all different ways that you can pay for college if you're eligible for some of these things. Okay, warm-up question that is posted in announcements. You are stranded on a remote desert island. Are you alone or with your worst enemy? This one was a no-brainer for me. I would say I would choose to be with my worst enemy, because when you're alone, that's when like the crazy starts, right? When you're isolated and then, you start talking to the volleyball or whatever, like on Castaway. Yeah. So I think even if the person would be super annoying and like bothersome to me, I would still choose to be with my worst enemy to have that like human interaction. Interested to see what you guys say. Okay, Stamp Part 4. Let me get out of this and get into Eagle. So Stamp Part 4 is posted as an assignment in Module 3, I believe. If you click into the assignment and see the directions, there are many different kind of tutorials here to help you figure out how to enter your classes into student planning. So that's the whole part of Stamp Part 4, is after you have met with me and we've done our Stamp Part 3, mapping out all the classes you're going to take to finish your degree. You're going to take those classes, and you're going to also look at the semesters that we planned them for, and you are going to pop those into student planning, and that's going to save your plan. So it doesn't register you for anything. It's nothing official. It just like keeps it as a plan for you of like down the road, hey, a couple semesters ago, these were the classes you were thinking about taking in this order. So it will help you out to just kind of keep it all organized and in one place. So there is a document here that talks about self-service and student planning. There's a PowerPoint that talks about how to use self-service and student planning. And I have also made a video that actually shows you the steps. So I went into self-service on my end and pulled up student planning and showed you how to enter those classes in. Once you have entered all of your classes for your upcoming semesters, you need to screenshot the whole timeline and copy and paste it into this document, upload it, email it to me, get it to me somehow. You have to screenshot the entire plan, not just next semester. So you have to put all of the classes in until your graduation time and then screenshot. It's usually just like 2 screenshots because it'll fit a couple semesters on one screen, and then you can just scroll and screenshot the next couple semesters. But you will have probably more than one thing to upload, so just keep that in mind. If you have any questions about how to do Stamp Part 4, please make sure you reach out to me, send me an email, shoot me a message on Eagle, and I will help you with that. But I'm hoping with all of these things, most students usually are able to figure it out between, the different tutorials that are on here. All right, back to the PowerPoint. I'm not going to spend a ton of time in the PowerPoint. It's just to kind of show you the order of how we're going to talk about things today. So most of our time will be spent looking at outside links and resources. So the first thing we're going to look at is the FAFSA website. So you can see this studentaid.gov that's the main site that you are going to go to for all things like federal student government, or I'm sorry, student aid related. So there's a lot of very helpful things on this website. So let me pop over to our first link, which is filling out the FAFSA. So it talks about completing the FAFSA form. If you're a returning user, there are some announcements, there's deadlines, things like that. If you scroll down, you can get help on how to do it, renew one if you've already done it. But this is basically where you're going to start. So in order to be eligible for any federal funding, you have to fill out the FAFSA, which stands for Free Application for Federal Student Aid. Okay, so you can apply for financial aid for college or graduate school. If you don't fill out the FAFSA, you're not going to get that free money in terms of financial aid. You also have to fill out a FAFSA if you want to get federal student loans. So student loans would be that money that you do have to pay back eventually, but it will help you get through college in the moment. You do have to fill out the FAFSA for those as well. So here's your starting point for the FAFSA. Then I'm going to click over to how financial aid works. This is a really great kind of overview if you are new to the financial aid process. So here it gives you your whole timeline. Start planning early, fill out your FAFSA, we just talked about that. Review your aid offer, get your aid, and then you graduate, and then you start repayment if you had loans. I want to talk about this number 2, filling out the FAFSA. Some people don't know you have to fill out the FAFSA every year. Okay, so it says before each year of college, you need to apply for your grants, work study, and your loans with the FAFSA. So you will be filling out the FAFSA using your previous 2 years tax returns. So that's why you have to do it every year, because people's income can change from year to year, and the FAFSA is based on income. So you do need to do that each year. So just because maybe this year you have financial aid, you're using it, great. That doesn't mean that you're set forever. You have to fill out the FAFSA again for next year to continue receiving your financial aid. So there's lots of different links here, and then it goes into reviewing your aid, some more good links. Getting your aid, that's the fun part, getting your money. And then something that is important here is staying eligible. So if you do receive financial aid, there is something called satisfactory academic progress. So Rock Valley College has this for our financial aid, but it's also something that you just have to do for your federal financial aid. So this document is from RVC, and I've linked to it in the assignment, but it says these are the minimum standards for all financial aid students. So that includes grants, some scholarships, loans, all veteran programs, and all work study programs. So basically you have to show that you are completing your classes and having a decent GPA. So it says you have to complete 67% of your attempted credits for each semester. So that means you have to pass those classes. 67% of your credits have to be a passing grade. And if you withdraw from a course, that does not count as completion. So you have to complete it and have a passing grade for 67% of your credits. Then down here, it talks about what kind of GPA you need to have to continue receiving your financial aid. It is based off of how many credit hours you have attempted, but basically you're looking at keeping a 2.0 or higher to stay in the satisfactory range for keeping your financial aid. So a 2.0 would be equivalent to getting a C in a class. So if you have a 2.0 overall, that means you have a C average. If you have above a 2.0, that means your average is higher, right? Getting A's, B's, and C's, maybe a mix, okay? So you just want to stay away from getting those D's and F's. I mean, we pretty much want to stay away from that overall anyway. But when you're thinking about keeping free money or keeping loans, really important to keep your grades up. So there, it also talks about finishing your degree in a reasonable time period, things like that. I'm not going to go into all of this, but for consequences, you will lose your financial aid at some point if you don't keep up with your satisfactory academic progress. So if you withdraw from too many classes in a semester, or if your GPA drops below a certain point, There is a warning period for some things, but then there's also a suspension period, which means you have lost your financial aid. There is an appeals process if you have lost your financial aid for SAP reasons. You can fill out a form to appeal and to get back on financial aid, but you usually have to show that you have maybe completed some classes or you've done better with your grades in some classes, and then a committee will look at your form and decide if they're going to reinstate your financial aid or not. So it is possible to get it back, but really, that's not a situation that you want to put yourself in to begin with. So keep those grades up and complete your classes and you'll be good to go.